Doctor. John Carver sat in the cockpit of the Explorer 1, his eyes scanning the vast expanse of space that stretched out before him. The mission briefing replayed in his mind investigate the biodiversity and habitability of the newly discovered planet Zareth. It was an assignment that filled him with equal parts excitement and trepidation. Zareth had been discovered only a few months prior, its presence detected by an unmanned probe sent to explore the far reaches of the galaxy. The initial data had been promising a planet with an Earth-like atmosphere, abundant water sources, and diverse ecosystems. But the probe's findings had also raised many questions, particularly about the planet's capacity to support human life. As a leading scientist specializing in exobiology, John had been chosen for this mission due to his extensive knowledge of alien ecosystems and his ability to adapt to new environments. His primary objective was to determine if Zareth could become a new home for humanity, a second Earth in case of ecological collapse or overpopulation back home. The descent to Zareth was smooth, the ship's automated systems guiding it through the planet's atmosphere with precision. As the ship touched down on the surface, John felt a surge of anticipation. He was about to embark on a journey that could change the future of humanity. Stepping out of the Explorer 1, John took his first breath of Zareth's air. It was crisp and clean, a good sign. The landscape before him was both alien and familiar, towering trees with bioluminescent leaves, strange rock formations, and a sky painted in hues of pink and purple. It was a world teeming with life and possibilities. Setting up his base camp, John's thoughts were focused on the tasks ahead. He would begin by studying the environment and cataloging the local life forms. Little did he know that his presence on this planet would soon intertwine with the fate of an entire species, setting him on a path that would test the limits of his scientific understanding and his humanity. The moment Dr. John Carver stepped onto the surface of Zareth, he felt a rush of excitement and curiosity. The air was remarkably fresh, a stark contrast to the polluted atmosphere of Earth. As he gazed at the alien landscape, he couldn't help but marvel at the beauty and strangeness of this new world. John set up his base camp near the edge of a vast forest. The trees, unlike anything he had seen before, stood tall with trunks that seemed to shimmer under the alien sun. Their leaves emitted a soft, bioluminescent glow, casting an ethereal light across the landscape. The ground was covered in thick, spongy moss that cushioned his every step. After securing his camp, John began his preliminary survey of the area. His first priority was to assess the planet's atmosphere and water sources. He collected air samples and tested the water from a nearby stream. The results were promising. The air was breathable, and the water was pure and rich in minerals. With the basics covered, John turned his attention to the local flora and fauna. He spent days exploring the forest, cataloging various plant species, and observing the behavior of small, insect-like creatures that inhabited the area. He documented everything meticulously, knowing that each piece of information could be crucial in determining the planet's habitability. One evening, as John sat by the campfire reviewing his notes, he noticed a flicker of movement at the edge of the clearing. His pulse quickened as he reached for his binoculars. Through the lenses, he saw a figure moving gracefully among the trees. It was humanoid but distinctly alien, with slender limbs and a lithe form that seemed to blend seamlessly with the surroundings. John's heart raced as he realized he was witnessing the presence of an intelligent species. He watched in awe as the figure moved closer, finally stepping into the light of the fire. The creature was a woman, but unlike any woman John had ever seen. She had smooth, iridescent skin that glowed softly in the dim light, and her eyes were large and luminescent, filled with a mix of curiosity and caution. For a moment, they simply stared at each other, both equally fascinated and wary. Then, the alien woman made a series of gestures, her movements fluid and expressive. John, realizing she was trying to communicate, responded with slow, deliberate gestures of his own. It was the beginning of a tentative understanding, a bridge between two worlds. The days that followed were a whirlwind of discovery for Dr. John Carver. With each passing moment, he uncovered more about the rich biodiversity of Zareth. The planet's ecosystem was a delicate balance of interconnected life forms, each playing a crucial role in maintaining the environment's stability. John documented his findings in meticulous detail. He discovered plants with incredible medicinal properties, capable of healing wounds and curing diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. But the insect-like creatures he had observed earlier turned out to be essential pollinators, ensuring the continued growth of the planet's flora. As John ventured deeper into the forest, he encountered more complex life forms. There were large, herbivorous animals with skin that changed color to blend into their surroundings, and swift predators with razor-sharp claws and keen senses. Each new discovery added to his growing understanding of Zerath's intricate web of life. One day, while exploring a dense thicket, John stumbled upon a hidden clearing. In the center stood a towering structure, clearly crafted by intelligent hands. It was a breathtaking sight, a monument made of crystal and stone, adorned with intricate carvings and symbols that seemed to tell a story. As John examined the structure, he realized that it was a place of great significance to the alien women. The carvings depicted scenes of their history and culture, their struggles and triumphs. It was here that John first learned about the genetic crisis that plagued their species. The alien women, who called themselves the Seraphim, were a proud and ancient race. Their society had once thrived, but over time, their male population had dwindled, and their genetic diversity had diminished. The Seraphim faced a grim future, unable to reproduce and sustain their numbers. John's discovery of the monument marked a turning point in his mission. He realized that his presence on Zerath was more than a scientific expedition, it was an opportunity to help a struggling species. He felt a profound sense of responsibility and compassion for the Seraphim, and he knew he had to find a way to assist them. The first contact between Dr. John Carver and the Seraphim was a moment of cautious curiosity and mutual respect. The alien woman who had approached him by the campfire, whom he had come to know as Lyra, acted as an intermediary between John and her people. Through a combination of gestures, drawings, and shared observations, John and Lyra began to communicate more effectively. Lyra was patient and intelligent, quickly grasping the basics of John's language and teaching him hers. Their exchanges were slow and deliberate, but each step brought them closer to understanding each other. Lyra led John to her village, a hidden sanctuary deep within the forest. The village was a marvel of organic architecture, with homes built into the trees and structures made from woven vines and bioluminescent plants. The Seraphim lived in harmony with their environment, their society a testament to their deep connection with nature. The village was abuzz with activity as the Seraphim prepared for an important ceremony. John learned that his arrival had been foretold in their ancient prophecies, a sign that help would come from the stars. The Seraphim welcomed John with a mixture of awe and hope, their belief in the prophecy giving them renewed faith in their future. As John settled into the village, he observed the Seraphim's way of life. They were a peaceful and nurturing people, valuing community and cooperation above all else. Their advanced technology, while different from Earth's, was highly sophisticated and seamlessly integrated into their natural surroundings. John's presence brought both excitement and anxiety to the Seraphim. They saw him as a potential savior, someone who could help them overcome their genetic crisis. But John knew that the path ahead would be challenging. He needed to understand the full extent of their genetic problems and find a way to bridge the gap between their species. The more time John spent with the Seraphim, the more he came to appreciate the complexity and richness of their society. The Seraphim were matriarchal, with leadership roles held by wise and experienced women. Their culture was steeped in traditions and rituals that celebrated life, nature, and the interconnectedness of all living things. John learned that the Seraphim's genetic crisis was a source of great sorrow and fear. The dwindling male population had led to a severe decline in birth rates, and many Seraphim had lost hope for the future. The prophecy that spoke of an alien savior had become a beacon of hope, a glimmer of light in their darkest times. The Seraphim believed that the savior would possess certain characteristics: compassion, intelligence, and a willingness to help. John's arrival matched the prophecy in ways that seemed almost too perfect. His knowledge of genetics and his empathetic nature made him the ideal candidate to help the Seraphim overcome their crisis. John spent countless hours in the village's central library, poring over ancient texts and scientific records. The Seraphim's genetic problems were complex, involving mutations and a lack of genetic diversity that had accumulated over generations. Their scientists had made some progress, but without new genetic material, their efforts were futile. John's understanding of human genetics offered a potential solution. He proposed a series of experiments to determine if human DNA could be integrated with the Seraphim's genetic code. It was a bold and unprecedented idea, but the Seraphim were willing to try anything to ensure the survival of their species. As John worked on his research, he also forged deep connections with the Seraphim. He became close friends with Lyra, who acted as his guide and confidante. Together, They navigated the challenges of cross-species communication and collaboration, building a bridge between their worlds. John's research into the Seraphim's genetic crisis revealed the full extent of the challenges they faced. The genetic mutations that had accumulated over generations were causing severe health issues and infertility. Without new genetic material, the Seraphim's chances of survival were slim. The scientific community within the Seraphim Society was highly advanced, but their efforts to solve the genetic crisis had been hampered by a lack of diversity in their gene pool. John proposed a radical solution using human DNA to introduce new genetic material and increase diversity. This idea was met with both hope and skepticism. The Seraphim's leaders were open to the possibility, but they needed to ensure that any intervention would be safe and ethical. John and the Seraphim scientists worked tirelessly to develop a plan that respected the Seraphim's cultural and ethical values. John's proposal involved a careful process of genetic integration, starting with small, controlled experiments. He suggested using human stem cells to create hybrid embryos, which could then be studied to determine their viability. It was a delicate and complex procedure, but it offered the best chance of success. The Seraphim's religious beliefs played a significant role in their acceptance of John's plan. The prophecy had foretold the arrival of an alien savior, and many Seraphim saw John as the fulfillment of that prophecy. This belief gave them the faith and determination to move forward with the experiments. John's work required a delicate balance of scientific rigor and cultural sensitivity. He had to ensure that the experiments were conducted ethically and transparently, with the full consent and understanding of the Seraphim. This involved extensive discussions and consultations with the Seraphim's leaders and spiritual guides. As the first experiments began, John felt a mixture of hope and anxiety. The success of the project depended on countless variables, and he knew that any failure could have devastating consequences for the Seraphim. But he also believed in the potential for success, driven by his desire to help the Seraphim and honor their trust in him. John's decision to assist the Seraphim marked a turning point in his mission. He became not only a scientist but also a key figure in their society, someone who held the potential to change their future. This new role came with significant responsibilities and challenges, both scientific and emotional. The process of genetic integration required careful planning and execution. John worked closely with the Seraphim scientists, sharing his knowledge and learning from their expertise. Together, they developed a series of protocols to ensure the safety and efficacy of the experiments. One of the most challenging aspects of the project was the cultural and ritualistic processes involved in the Seraphim's approach to reproduction. The Seraphim believed that the integration of new genetic material was a sacred act, one that required deep respect and reverence. John participated in their rituals, gaining a deeper understanding of their beliefs and values. As the experiments progressed, John faced numerous scientific challenges. The hybrid embryos needed to be carefully monitored and nurtured, with every stage of development meticulously documented. The Seraphim scientists were skilled and knowledgeable, but the integration of human DNA introduced new complexities that required innovative solutions. John's emotional journey was equally complex. He formed deep bonds with the Seraphim, especially with Lyra, who became his closest ally and confidante. Their friendship blossomed into something deeper, a connection that transcended the boundaries of their species. John found himself torn between his duty as a scientist and his growing feelings for Lyra. The success of the experiments brought both hope and uncertainty. Early signs indicated that the hybrid embryos were developing well, showing promise for the future of the Seraphim. But John knew that there were still many hurdles to overcome, and the outcome was far from guaranteed. As the experiments continued, John faced a series of scientific and emotional challenges that tested his resolve and determination. The hybrid embryos showed signs of viability, but the process was far from straightforward. Each stage of development required careful monitoring and adjustments to ensure the best possible outcomes. The Seraphim scientists worked tirelessly alongside John, their collaboration a testament to the power of shared knowledge and mutual respect. Together, they overcame numerous obstacles, from unexpected genetic mutations to complications in the growth and development of the embryos. Every success was celebrated, and every setback was met with renewed determination. John's emotional journey was equally tumultuous. His growing bond with Lyra became a source of both strength and conflict. Their relationship deepened, but it also raised questions about the ethical implications of his involvement with the Seraphim. John struggled with the dual roles of scientist and companion, trying to navigate the complexities of their connection. The Seraphim Society was undergoing significant changes as well. The hope brought by the experiments infused the community with new energy and optimism. But this hope also brought its own set of challenges, as the Seraphim grappled with the implications of integrating human genetics into their lineage. John and Lyra's relationship faced scrutiny and curiosity from the Seraphim. While many supported their bond, seeing it as a symbol of the union between their species, others were wary of the potential consequences. John and Lyra had to navigate these social dynamics, finding a balance between their personal feelings and their responsibilities to their people. As the first hybrid children were born, the village was filled with a mix of joy and apprehension. The infants showed signs of both human and Seraphim traits, their unique genetic makeup a testament to the potential for a new future. But the journey was far from over, and John knew that the real challenges were just beginning. The birth of the first hybrid children marked a pivotal moment in the Seraphim's history. These children, with their unique genetic makeup, represented the culmination of countless hours of research, collaboration, and hope. The village celebrated their arrival with ceremonies and rituals, welcoming them as symbols of a new beginning. John watched with a mixture of pride and trepidation as the hybrid children grew. Their development was closely monitored, and early signs indicated that they were healthy and thriving. The integration of human and Seraphim genetics appeared to be successful, providing a ray of hope for the future of the Seraphim. The impact of the hybrid children on the Seraphim society was profound. Their presence brought a renewed sense of purpose and optimism, encouraging the community to look forward with hope rather than backward with despair. The Seraphim's leaders, who had once faced the possibility of extinction, now saw a future filled with potential and growth. John's role in the community continued to evolve. He became a mentor and advisor, sharing his knowledge and experience with the Seraphim scientists and leaders. His bond with Lyra deepened, and they faced the challenges of their unique relationship with resilience and understanding. However, the path to a sustainable future was not without its challenges. The hybrid children faced unique health issues and developmental hurdles that required constant attention and care. John and the Seraphim scientists worked tirelessly to address these challenges, developing new treatments and therapies to support the children's growth. The Seraphim society also had to adapt to the changes brought by the hybrid children. Their presence challenged traditional beliefs and practices, prompting discussions and debates about the future of their culture and identity. John and Lyra played a crucial role in these conversations, advocating for a balance between tradition and innovation. As the hybrid children grew and thrived, the Seraphim society began to transform. The community embraced the new generation with love and hope, recognizing the potential for a brighter future. The success of the genetic integration brought a sense of accomplishment and renewed faith in the prophecy that had foretold John's arrival. Just as the Seraphim's future seemed secure, an unforeseen crisis threatened to undo all their progress. A mysterious illness began to spread among the hybrid children, causing severe health issues and raising fears of a genetic incompatibility. The community was plunged into turmoil, and the hope that had once filled the village turned to desperation. John and the Seraphim scientists raced against time to identify the cause of the illness and find a cure. The symptoms were alarming: rapid decline in health, weakness, and susceptibility to infections. The hybrid children's unique genetic makeup posed significant challenges, making it difficult to pinpoint the source of the problem. John's expertise and determination became crucial in this critical moment. He worked tirelessly, analyzing genetic data, conducting experiments, and collaborating with the Seraphim scientists. The stakes were higher than ever, and the pressure to find a solution was immense. The crisis tested the resilience and unity of the Seraphim society. The community rallied together, providing support and care for the affected children and their families. The village became a hub of activity, with everyone contributing in their own way to the efforts to save the hybrid children. John's bond with Lyra deepened during this challenging time. Their relationship faced immense strain, but their shared determination to save the hybrid children strengthened their connection. Together, they navigated the emotional and scientific challenges, finding solace and strength in each other. After weeks of relentless work, John and the Seraphim scientists made a breakthrough. They discovered that the illness was caused by a rare genetic mutation that had been triggered by the integration of human DNA. With this knowledge, they were able to develop a targeted treatment that addressed the root cause of the illness. The treatment was administered to the hybrid children, and slowly their health began to improve. The village breathed a collective sigh of relief as the children recovered, their resilience a testament to the strength of the Seraphim and their determination to overcome adversity. With the crisis averted, the Seraphim Society emerged stronger and more united than ever. The hybrid children, now healthy and thriving, became symbols of hope and renewal. The community celebrated their resilience and the hard-won victories that had secured their future. John's contributions were recognized and honored by the Seraphim. He had not only fulfilled the prophecy but had also become an integral part of their society. His bond with Lyra had deepened into a profound love, and they faced the future together with optimism and determination. The Seraphim Society continued to evolve, embracing the changes brought by the integration of human genetics. The hybrid children grew into capable and intelligent individuals, embodying the best qualities of both species. Their presence enriched the community, fostering a new era of growth and innovation. John's reflections on his journey were filled with gratitude and a sense of purpose. He had come to Zareth as a scientist, but he had found a new home and a new family. The bonds he had formed with the Seraphim were unbreakable, and he knew that his journey was far from over. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village, John stood with Lyra, their hands entwined. They looked out at the thriving community, filled with the laughter of children and the hope of a bright future. It was a new dawn for the Seraphim, a testament to the power of compassion, understanding, and the unbreakable spirit of life.